The Build-A-Crow is a fun way which you can interact with choosing where you want to put your donations.
We have 285 or so portables. That's too many. But what is a good balance?
Most people don't want the farm fish, and we don't support the offshore farming.
Drugs numbed it. It numbed it, it masked it. It was a staple in my life.
Fraser Focus, a fresh perspective beyond the bridge.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Fraser Focus, local places and faces from here in the Fraser region. I'm Dean Atwell.
And I'm Leah Bolton. Here on Fraser Focus in the community, we get to address all types of issues. We talk about drugs and recovery.
Now later on in the show, we'll continue on with part 2 at a look at the aquaculture industry and the Oceanwise movement.
And as you can tell, it's getting colder, fall is in the air, and students have gone back to school. People are talking about the overcrowding in the school systems.
First up though, speaking of fall, it's time for the Joy TV crew to try their hand at building scarecrows.
So you bring some old clothes and we provide the frames and the straw and all the good things to decorate with them with.
Okay, I'm gonna go find the hay. Carmen, do you know where the hay is?
Everywhere.
Let's just look around.
Build Your Own Scarecrow is an extension of our Scarecrow Festival, where we have built over 60 scarecrows that are all unique, sponsored by local community partners and businesses.
It's the first time I've been at Arts, and this is such a cool place. I really like it, and it's pretty cool, except there's nothing to scare away. I mean, there's lots of scarecrows, but...
Aw, Twinkle Toes here.
So cute, right? It's amazing the creations that everybody comes up with, and they are all around the nursery, and there's a scavenger hunt to discover them and just kind of have a lot of fun.
What about that one?
He looks very happy and he's a cowboy wearing my sister's boots.
We have 3 charities this year, and they'll all benefit from the sponsoring of the scarecrows from the local businesses.
I'm getting to be an expert here. This is my very first scarecrow.
So we're doing fairly well here. And for 3 charities here, the Versatile, L'Arche and Sally's Farm.
Versatiles is an organization, it's a seniors acting group. They do wonderful work. They go into the senior communities and old age homes and they entertain.
And Sally?
And Sally is a fun organization and they do great work. They pair up at-risk youth with at-risk animals and you get magical results.
Barry, what do you think? She's really got the hips going on.
I'm gonna go borrow the stapler. And when I say borrow, I mean borrow. So tell me about the other charity, L'Arche.
L'Arche is a great charity. It's an organization out of Burnaby, and it's basically an organization that helps people with developmental challenges and disabilities and helps them to live independently.
That's one. Yes. Great organizations. Well, it's just as fun with some of the Joy TV crew out here, I see.
I know, and they're super creative. I mean, I don't know, they're all building mini-me's, or I'm not sure.
There you go, a little Hawaiian princess thing.
I like it.
I like it too.
Mr. Nose.
Mr. Nose?
Mr. Nose
He
knows.
looks pretty good. Who's this? This is Hippie Trippy Chicky.
The Build-A-Crow is a fun way which you can interact with choosing where you want to put your donations. So a lot of people will donate to all 3, or they might have a charity that speaks to them a little more and they'll choose to give their minimum $10 donation for Build-A-Crow to that charity of their choice.
Happy worker.
Okay, what do you think of this guy?
I think it's from Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles, good guess. Stay. Oh, she attacked me.
So we had our kickoff party on September 24th and it goes basically to Halloween. So lots of time to come out.
Okay, here we go.
And there she is. She looks like a Jennifer, maybe?
No, it's Lola.
It's great. People come, they make a mess, they have fun, they be creative. And so this is the 2nd year and it's going to be an annual event.
Lola. Jenny Lowe.
She's beautiful.
Isn't she? Isn't she just?
Why is she taller than me? I always got to be the short one.
You know she's going in your apartment, right?
32nd floor. You're going to see her
I'd be scared
waving.
if I saw that in the middle of the night in the corner of my apartment. Truly would.
All for charity. All for charity.
If you magically produce enough schools that you didn't have any portables, you will have overbuilt.
Hey guys, welcome back to Fraser Focus, local faces and local places. Right now I'm in Surrey, where we've come across a little bit of a problem here. There's overcrowding in the school systems with the population growth. Now we're looking at different types of solutions. We're talking to parents and we're talking to the school board about what we might be able to do to solve this problem. We're totally overcrowded. We have nowhere for kids to go to school. Here we have 18 portables. Now, having said that, they are building a new school called Salish Secondary, and it's meant to capture some of this overflow.
It's a challenge, no doubt about it. It's great that Surrey is a popular place to live and go to school, and we certainly welcome families to our school district. But of course, the popularity does create challenges.
Okay, everybody ready? Yeah. So they expect on average about 1,000 more students every year. Okay. And so when the province announced the 2,700 seats in the spring, it really didn't impact anything, because within a couple of years, we'll have reabsorbed that number and need that many more portables again. Those schools aren't even due to be built till 2020.
It takes a number of years to identify a need and then go through the architectural process, the design process, the construction tender process, and then of course the construction itself to get the school online. And that's where we kind of get into a bind.
I got to adjust it for a child size head, right?
We've already cut this bank, so we don't want to go back and forth.
So if we make this bigger, and then we have more room for these guys over there, that means we bring the kiosks and the conduits over to here first, then over to here. We will open for September 2018.
So how long have you been working in the city of Surrey building schools?
Well, for the Surrey School District for 25 years now.
25 years.
During the Hong Kong days, we had over 1,800 students in one summer alone.
Wow.
So where do they come from in 2 months? Think about it. And that's a high school and 2 elementary schools that we don't have. So guess what? More portables.
I guess the good news around Surrey schools and its growth is that we have the pick of some pretty good portables out there. In that period of time while we're waiting for a new school to be built, they're the way to go. There's also a need sometimes for construction or upgrades to a school where we need to work on a section of the school. So you need portables on site to accommodate the students while you're doing that.
So how come we haven't been able to build as fast as kids have been showing up? Has it been more of a surprise?
Pure funding.
Where do we get that money?
From you and I.
Our board approves a capital plan and identifies in priority order the schools that we need, or the school additions that we need. And then we have to, of course, wait in line with all the other priority projects, even within the ministry itself, of schools from other districts that may need them.
There's kids falling through the cracks every single day, and it's going to add to the homelessness problem. It's going to add to the gang problem. You're looking at the bigger picture, and when you're saying that, it's the overall quality of life.
If you magically produce enough schools that you didn't have any portables, you will have overbuilt. That doesn't benefit the taxpayer either. No. You have to have swing space that you can easily put together by way of portables to take care of a problem for a year or two at one school.
I feel like the Liberal government is making a choice by not funding education properly. The money is there. We're in a surplus budget right now. If we have a surplus, why is our education in crisis?
We have 285 or so portables. That's too many. But what is a good balance? Well, say 1 per school. I'm just saying.
Reese, come on down, man. Don't be shy.
An estimated $273 million is needed to accommodate students and build new schools like this one. We'll be right back here on Fraser Focus in a moment.
I think there's concern that the farmed fish are having a negative impact on the wild stocks.
Welcome back to Fraser Focus. On last week's show, we brought you the aquaculture industry and explored fish farms. This week, however, we're bringing you this topic from a different perspective.
When we go to the fisheries meetings, they tell us you got to start using the Sharon model. How are we going to teach our youth how to fish when they have to go pick it out of somebody else's truck?
Well, when you have a look at what this open net cage fish farm industry has done globally, they've always had demonstrated an impact on the native species of fish. And what happens is it's a perfect environment for sea lice, as one example of impact, to flourish. And then we start to have other concerns about the externalization of the excrement from 700,000 fish in a pen.
I think there's concern that the farmed fish are having a negative impact on the wild stocks through a combination of sea lice, disease, and possibly genetic dilution.
Net pen aquaculture operations raise several conservation concerns. Water flows freely through the pens and can carry waste and chemicals like pesticides into the local environment. In addition, there's the potential threat of disease transfer from the farmed fish to wild fish that swim past the pens.
There is some transfer of viruses, and potentially these viruses, that transfer could occur and it could decimate passing wild salmon stocks of several different species, many going to the Fraser River system. And often those salmon farms, of course, are nearby First Nations communities who rely on passing wild salmon stocks.
There always will be some part of the First Nations that are concerned about the risk that salmon farms propose to the wild fish. Well, we also understand these risks because fish are fish. All pollution, all of these urbanization, all of this stuff doesn't discriminate between wild fish and farm fish. And the open net pens are doing very well. There's not big disease problems. There's not all these problems that are sort of blown up in the marketplace. So there's no really need to put them on land. So as a farmer that actually has both on land and net pen, I think that's a well-integrated company in the future will use both pieces of this technology.
When we go to the store, how would we know that the farmed fish that we're about to buy is raised either on the ocean or on land?
The retailers, they're supposed to indicate whether they're wild salmon or farm-raised salmon.
We do carry some inland closed containment fish. So we have steelhead and we have rainbow trout because there's no commercial fishing on those. I mean, most people do not want the farm fish, and we don't support the offshore farming. So over the time we're educating people like with the steelhead and the trout, and if they're done properly, they're a great product.
Do you have kids?
I do.
And would you feed them farmed fish, or would you feed them?
I would prefer not to, no.
Do you mind me asking why?
I just think there's too many diseases and things I hear. It scares me.
Preference wild.
Why so?
Just because I've seen some of those farmed fish when we were on the boat, and it didn't look very good.
It's time for closed containment on land. Let's allow this industry to be 100% responsible for every aspect of its operations. And that's not asking too much.
So there you have it. Both sides of the argument on farmed fish. Now, if you want to see the story on the aquaculture industry again, be sure to check us out on social media. We'd love to learn of your comments. You're watching Fraser Focus. More local stories when we come back.
You can't threaten them. You can't use shame and guilt. You need to use insight.
Welcome back to Fraser Focus, local faces and local places.
Now, with fentanyl being such a scare in our communities recently, we put the word out for feedback.
An organization called Dan's Legacy has offered their support and advice towards drug abuse overall.
Right. It's given us the formula to find SN.
For the sum.
That's right. Okay, and we're looking at an arithmetic series with 4 terms.
We're really a school that's designed for kids who aren't making it or not doing well in mainstream public school programs. We have a lot more supports. You can't really meet educational needs until you meet some of the other needs first.
So I just look at that.
That's right.
Dan's Legacy was started by a gentleman named Kevin Snook and his first wife. They were Dan's parents. And when they lost their son, they wanted to do what they could to help other kids and make sure that that tragedy didn't happen to other families.
It was my way of dealing with the loss of my son, who died through a drug overdose, and he'd been working on out to sea and was sexually abused on the open sea, and sort of led him into the world of drugs.
How's your family?
Family's pretty good. Everyone's off doing their own thing. My sister got married. Alonso's getting married in next year.
Dan had been in 2 really good recovery programs, but he never got therapy. And I've worked with young people all my life as a therapist, especially ones that have been through abuse and trauma as children, because those are the ones that begin to self-medicate.
It was actually government funded, so we actually got, the students in that class got paid to actually
Really?
there. Yeah.
That's an awesome program.
Drugs numbed it. It numbed it, it masked it. It was a staple in my life.
I warned everybody that he was severely depressed and suicidal, and that this would be the result if he didn't get some help. Well, it wasn't until about a year before he died that he told me that he had been molested, although he didn't tell me who it was. However, a few months before he died, he did share with quite a few of his friends who this person was, but by then it was too late.
Little beef here for the kids. I spend 2 days a week here, and most of my time is in counseling sessions, but on Wednesdays I try and cook a meal for the kids too. Usually I have a kid in the kitchen with me, helping me, and those are some of the more difficult ones because they can't sit across from you and look you in the eye. They get all nervous. So this way we can kind of work and talk at the same time, and it's really easy to get a session done, and they don't even know they've had a session done.
Oh, that looks good.
This is chicken wings. One of the things I noticed when I first came to the school was they had such a great kitchen, but there was no food. So part of what Dan's Legacy does is provide food. We collect surplus food from a save-on. We're not looking at drugs and alcohol as the problem. We're looking at trauma and abuse as the problem, and these kids are using whatever they can to ease their own pain.
What I want people to do is to think about, don't look at the 19-year-old or the 18-year-old that's having problems, but think about that person when they were 5 and they were, cowering in fear because someone was going to hurt them.
Some people get home from work and they have a glass of wine. I would get home from school and I would do a line.
See, but the thing I've come to realize is that since he died, I'm really, really struggling with post-traumatic stress disorder and depression. And because I can't sleep at night, I don't do drugs, but I drink.
You can't threaten them. You can't use shame and guilt. You need to use insight and empowerment as a modality for change. That's how it really works. And then you've got real change, not just someone that learns how not to do drugs, but someone who learns why they did the drugs, heals that problem, and moves on with their life.
Dan's Legacy is just one piece of the puzzle. There's many recovery centers out there that are there to help people heal. We head over to Wagner Hills.
A lot of the guys' eyes here, they come in and they don't have a lot of hope. They think that they've burned every bridge and everything's wasted and everything's gone. It's pretty phenomenal to see them change and grow.
it has to be a choice.
Yeah, it has to be a choice. They pick up the phone and they call us. They've usually heard about us from somebody else, or now we're quite easy to find on the internet.
Yeah, word of mouth, churches.
Yeah.
Because you guys Christian faith.
Yeah.
Does it matter what type of faith I am?
Well, we'll pretty much accept anyone here.
And it's not just drugs and alcohol, it's work, it's you know, we're taught early in life to put God in our hearts first. And, you know, one of my things was putting the love of my ex-wife. And
I've got 50 guys on the property here, and I take it really seriously how I live and how I'm an example.
A lot of supporters, a lot of families, a lot of churches.
Yeah, my family is so thankful for this place, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
So.
A lot of us come out of the streets or coming out from big benders or things where we don't really hold a career or a job.
Yeah.
And coming to Wagner Hills, you know, we got a regiment program, a work program, where we're working 5 days a week. And 3 of those days are full days. 2 of the days we have chapel services, Bible studies in the morning.
How long have you been here at the farm?
41 months.
41. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good stretch.
Yeah.
You must love it here.
I'm doing a horticulture landscape program.
Yeah.
Cool.
How far into that are you?
I'm starting my 3rd year in January.
I came here 18 years ago. And I pulled onto this property, and within the first couple of weeks, I saw the director who was here at that time. He became like a dad to me, and I wanted what he had.
Wagner Hills, a beautiful property and a great place to rebuild your life.
Agreed, it's beautiful there. And that's it for this episode of Fraser Focus, bringing you stories from beyond the bridge.
Now, if you have a story that you'd like us to share, please feel free to contact us by social media or email. I'm Dean Atwell.
And I'm Leah Bolton. We'll see you next week.